If you've ever felt too intuitive, too curious, too awake for the life you're living, you might just be one of us.
Yes. So, welcome to Midlife with Mystics and Misfits, where we talk about intuition, reinvention, and the beautiful chaos of becoming who you truly are. I'm Cece.
And I'm Jen.
Hello, beautiful.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm so good. Your hair? Mwah!
She did such a
Gorgeous.
good job. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so did she ice you up for spring?
She did. She did. I was just like, I surrendered. I said, you just go ahead and I'm going to love it. And honestly, probably the best cut that I've gotten so far.
I love that. And I love that spring haircut. You know, when I don't
Mm,
know if you, the listeners, anybody kind of gets it, but when you go and you're like, I need fresh, and the spring kind of energy just makes it like, oh, you just feel like
oh,
light just after the winter and we had ponytails
so
and dirty
good.
hair. It's time for
Right?
some new.
Fresh.
Yeah,
Freshness.
exactly.
And
Mm.
you're looking gorgeous on your end. That color's amazing on you.
Oh, thanks, honey. Yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I think this is just the part of the winter into spring sickness that everybody kind of stuffily knows. Not really sick, just a little stuffy nose. It's
Yeah. Those grass molds, they're out this time of year. So
yeah, and so what do you recommend for me to take to work to clear this up?
nettle tincture through and through. I bet you if you take 3, 4 doses of nettle tincture
Mhm.
and then like take at least 2 doses tonight.
Okay.
And then I would do 4 doses tomorrow spread out. And I bet you any money you'll be better by tomorrow night.
Okay.
Nettle is wonderful for allergies, for moving lymph. Like it's so good for so many things, but especially this area here, it's like for me, it almost automatically clears.
Okay, I have nettle because my daughter has spring allergies, and we give it to her then because
Oh,
it
well,
helps
there you
clear.
go.
Yeah, so I love that. I'll be, baby, I need your nettle.
Right? I sent you some too. The last time
You
I
did.
sent you a vial. Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
love
You've
that. So
got
if
that up
anybody
there
needs
too.
any, reach out to Cece. Get some
Right.
nettle for yourself.
Exactly. Sunmotherapothecary@gmail.com is where you can
Okay,
get me for that.
there you go. And it's interesting because I was watching this. I don't even remember exactly because I'm going to butcher it. I try to do this every podcast. It seems I remember when I saw this, and then I
I remember.
went down this rabbit hole. So this was not just one kind of TikTok that I saw, but it was about Aboriginal people and
Mhm.
their use of Mother Earth and the
Oh,
herbs and the plants that grow. So they were talking about the root system because when you touch nettle, it's that stinging kind of plant, right?
yes.
Anything above the
Yes.
bottom leaf is all that you don't want to touch that. That's not something you touch. But it's the
Mhm.
root system that I was watching and learning about and the insane medicinal benefits of the root system.
Oh, well, it's even the root system, the leaves, it is everything.
Because
So
you
when
can
you
like
dry
boil and make a tea. Like there was so much stuff
yeah.
they were talking about. Yeah.
Yes. When you dry it out, yeah, when you dry nettle out, it's no longer stingy. But
Mm,
you wanna know something fascinating about the stingy
yeah.
part?
Yeah.
Warriors would come back from battle
Yep.
and they would flog themselves with stinging nettle to create an endorphin rush all over their body to get rid of the cortisol in their system.
It, and then this is exactly what it was. You're bringing it back to me. So there was people who had like poor circulation or
Yes.
issues with joint pain and what they like. So tennis elbow. So this is why I was like, oh. What you had me at tennis elbow because I went in to get shock therapy and it worked. I got to say it did. But they
Yeah.
were saying to take the stinging part and to hit the area and it will get
Yes.
inflamed, which will draw in, I mean, medically we know it would draw in the, new blood. It would draw in white blood cells to form.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm not a doctor. We're not doctors, but it all made sense when I was researching it. And I was like, so then it would draw the inflammation would get all of this beautiful new oxygenated blood. And anyway, do your
Yes.
own research, but it was
Do
something
your
that
own
I found
research.
quite
Absolutely.
exciting to read about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
my
so cool. I
yeah.
can't imagine that's comfortable at all, but I'm sure it would work. I have never tried it, so
Me
but
neither.
I'm sure it would work.
I had
I'm
already
sure.
done the excruciating shock therapy, and I gotta tell you, nothing could be worse than like a little stinging nettle can't be worse than that.
Yeah, no kidding. That stuff is a little rough. It's
Yeah,
kinda
it
hard
was.
on the nervous system, but it does work.
It did, because I it was over a year. I couldn't even lift a cup of coffee anyway.
Oh my
So
gosh, girl.
yeah, it was bad. Because I'm a stubborn mule. I was like, I can
Aren't
fight
we all?
through anything.
Seriously, right?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So tell
Okay, I
me
have
about
some
your week. I want to know.
oh, oh, my week.
Yeah.
I had I had beautiful time off with hubby.
Hmm.
It was, I love the space that we're in. It's so good. I'm like, I don't know. It's so nice. It's so nice. And then throughout the entire like week of doing that, do you ever get those moments where you're like, this word does not feel right? And you question a word, like just a word. Like,
Yeah.
does anyone in our audience do that? Like, where you're like, this is a very commonly used word, but it just doesn't sit right, and I don't know why it doesn't sit right. So then I like go into like this massive deep dive of, finding out where this word came from and what if you break it apart, what does each little piece mean, and then because we know, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe our audience doesn't know, but words are spells no matter what we're saying, right? Words are
Mhm.
spells. Whatever we're speaking out of our mouth has a spell to it. And sometimes we don't even know what that back spell or the spell that is on that word actually means. So, anyways, that was part of my week because I was like, I had words come up and I'm like, ugh, I don't like this very common word does not sit well in my body. So I thought, and I hope you're going to be in for it. I thought we could do a little segment called Spell or Truth and dissect some words.
I love that because we've talked about this. We've said certain words, terms, phrases, we've said, I hate this word, but this word bothers me, but, and so I love that. Okay, so tell me the word. What is it? Okay, so what did you
Okay,
call it? It's called truth or what did you
we're gonna
say?
let's call it Spell or Truth.
Spell or truth. Oh, I like that.
Spell
Okay,
or
good.
truth, right?
Spell. Truth.
Because it'll be both. It is a spell and it's going to have some truth to it. It's just how's it being used in our like in society itself and um where to me it's like I always look at a word of where is it disempowering and where is it empowering,
Okay.
right?
Oh,
And I think
wow.
a lot of words that society uses are all disempowering. And I think that's what feels resonate sticky with me.
Okay.
Okay, so the word that didn't feel right and came up a bunch of times in a whole bunch of things that I read and saw and videos that I watched and stuff like that was the word compassion.
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 I'm
So,
just sitting with that for a second. Where in my body do I
yes.
feel compassion? Obviously, here a little bit, but it also feels a little, yeah. Um, if I'm
I know.
honest, I'm going to
If
tell you
it
what I'm feeling about it anyway. Go on. You tell me. What were
Yeah,
you? What?
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. No, no. So the word compassion, if we break it apart,
Okay.
I do have a few things written just so I can like I can visually look at it because there's a
Okay. Yeah.
lot to the word. But
Okay.
it breaks out in Latin, it breaks out into two different words. Com,
Mm-hmm.
which means with or together,
Mm-hmm.
and then passio, which means suffering, enduring, and and undergoing.
Okay.
That's what that means. So it literally means to suffer with and willingly enter into the feeling alongside another.
Hmm.
So the word itself is not a bad word, but here's where I personally feel like this distortion, the spell work of how this word is used everywhere. To me, the word is like it has been distorted from that because I think when that was originally brought about, I think it was a heart spaced kind of thing. To me now it's I need you to come into my field of energy and
Mm.
sit and reiterate the fact that I am here, and it's like uh how do I say it? It's like it it's almost like come prolong this feeling inside of me while you wear the halo of compassion.
Mm.
Where you wear the halo of goodness, I'm asking you to wear that like that crown of goodness and be compassionate with me.
Right.
And here's my feeling on this, because I have been, and I think you and I have talked about this before in just random conversations. I have been told most of my life I'm not compassionate or empathetic.
Me too.
Shocker, right?
Shocker.
Shocker, because that word has always been really sticky with me. And it's like, come into my illusion and just and let your truth be distorted. And I don't like that.
Mm,
I'm like, I see people for the very best that they could possibly be. So being asked to come in compassionately to someone's distortion of, like, if they're in a victim mode, and you know that anything like that just reiterates that victim mode.
mm.
Or does that make sense? Like, so yeah. So anyway, so the word is compassion,
I love that. Okay, so
right?
I hear you, and I obviously there's some things going on in your world where you're feeling obviously or being made to feel like you are not showing up in a compassionate way. And so when I
Oh,
hear yeah,
yeah.
I completely get it. This week I can think of two examples of this exact scenario where I for somebody else and then for self,
Mhm.
interestingly enough.
Ooh,
Where
ooh,
yeah,
tell.
right. So, it just feels so the compassion I've been you're not, giving enough of or holding enough space for or you don't understand is usually how it starts to make then I start reflecting on I'm not showing up in a very compassionate way and it usually then turns into an I message. I am not
Yeah.
compassionate. And yet now that you're saying that it feels to me like depending on your nervous system and where you are, the trauma of what's going on in your current situation, right? Either you're overgiving, you're people pleasing, maybe you're an avoidant and this is kind of like and I know that that's probably where I would tend to especially when I'm dysregulated, I try to avoid it. So I maybe push it away or don't hold the space that people want me to hold. But
Right.
I think it's actually like with boundaries, compassion is okay. So you had said the definition was holding the basically the pain. What was it? Did you say
It's
the
to suffer with and
suffer with?
willingly enter
Right.
alongside another.
Right. So I can think of, examples of, this person in, this week is really going through a lot in their life right now.
Mhm.
I mean, who life has handed them some lemons for sure. And
Mhm.
it's not just this week. This has been months for this particular person. And so they asked me to sit with compassion and then as after to help them out, right? It was a
Mhm.
twofer. And I really and to a detriment, extreme detriment of self, potentially. Not
Yeah.
necessarily, but potentially. And it didn't feel like I was being very compassionate towards them. And so then I started feeling like turning that towards that lens of, not having that empathy, right?
Okay.
Or
Yep.
but I do feel there's a difference sitting with somebody and
Mhm.
being there, like when a friend breaks up with somebody, instead of saying, "Don't worry, there's other fish in the sea,"
Oh
or
yeah. 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 Yeah.
"Don't," there more people will come along, or let's go out and like let's just forget about it. Instead of just being there, for me, compassion would look like I'm here with you, and this is shitty, right?
Yeah. For
That I think
sure.
is a really I can hold that space for you, but then
That
where does it end?
well, that's the whole thing. Is to me, there's entangled compassion where you're entangled within that person's shit. So
Mhm.
you take all of that on,
Okay.
and it feeds the loop of whatever they're in. And then
Yeah.
there's like sovereign compassion, which is exactly what you just talked about, which is sitting and witnessing what that person is in
Yeah.
and not feeding the loop of that, but just sitting and holding the space for it. So there's two, to me,
Yeah.
there's like two different types. I think in general, in general, what we see is entangled compassion,
Mhm.
um, right? Which is what perpetuates, to me, it perpetuates war. It perpetuates so much in this world, is
Mm.
entangled compassion. Instead of holding space for someone to rise, and out of this came, I think, probably one of my most favorite things I'll ever hold is, here's the light, just walk. So
Yeah.
being able to be like the lighthouse for someone and saying, I'm here, I'm steady for you, but you still need to walk through what you're walking through. All I can do is hold the light and let you walk towards it. Does that make sense? That's a
I
different
love
type
that.
of compassion because it's empowering. It empowers people. And I think that's the thing that I don't like about this is
Yeah.
a lot of this compassion stuff is not empowering. It doesn't empower people to improve, or it
Yeah.
doesn't empower groups to improve. It empowers them to stay in a loop of whatever it is that they're in. And
Well,
I
do
don't
you
like that
think
even for me. So,
yeah. Do you think it's because well, I mean, I think we're very similar. So I know that I don't have a ton of self-compassion. So maybe this is what we're now then putting on or projecting to others. Maybe, right? If we look at the
mhm.
shadow of it, maybe, right? But I
Yeah,
also feel like oh, I lost my train of thought because there were so many great things that you said about being the light. Um I have a tendency and you know to fix,
me
sometimes to
too.
judge,
Yeah.
right? So being the light I actually visualize it like holding the space, like I'm the
Mhm.
container and I will take this with you and but again, I think that's part of that empathy, right? It's the action of the empathy.
Mhm.
But I feel like the wanting to fix, the wanting to help, the wanting to do something instead of just sitting in it is something that
That's the entangled part.
there is that's what I think you were talking and I love
Yeah.
that kind of differentiation of
Yeah.
the light versus the dark part of compassion.
Right.
Wow. Do you
Yeah.
think do you think we're born with compassion or is it something that's taught?
Oh
Ooh,
gosh.
right?
That's a deep question. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know because here's what I
I
mean,
don't know.
I
I mean, I know I hold compassion. It's just in a different way than I think most people expect it. It's an expectation people have that it's held a certain way. And I
yeah,
don't hold it that way. So then I'm
yeah,
what do you call it? Judged on the fact that, oh, you're not compassionate or you're
yeah,
not empathetic.
yeah,
It's because
yeah.
I hold it differently. And I don't know, maybe everybody's born with it, but everybody holds it slightly differently.
Right. Right. Because the way that I think I was taught compassion is actually compliance.
Hell yes. Over giving, over
Right.
being.
Right.
Yes.
That's that people
Yes.
pleasing kind of energy. So,
100%.
yeah. So, I guess that's the thing, right? Because when we're getting into this midlife, this is where I think the shift for me is happening with compassion is I'm showing up differently for people than
Yeah.
maybe I used to, or the way that I was taught.
I would completely agree with you. I would this whole phase of life has
Yeah,
really it's reteaching, or I guess we're relearning
yeah.
what the truth of how we show up for others and ourselves
So
is.
so then maybe moving forward, I think for me, now that you've broken it down so beautifully, sitting with holding this kind of pain, being with somebody in their pain is something that if I can sit and not try to fix or judge, um, that would be, I guess, the definition of non-entangled
Yeah,
compassion.
it would be sovereign compassion,
Sovereign compassion.
right?
That's what you
Like
said.
sovereign compassion. And I mean, love itself
Yeah.
does not require participation. There's no
Right.
participation in love. Love is just love. So to be with someone in their shit and
Yeah.
hold them in that, and to just love them for where they're at in it is compassion. But the thing is, most people don't see it that way because they
Right.
want you to ooh and ah and be sucked into the world of whatever it is they're going through. And I get it.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
we've all done that, been there. We've
Yeah.
done that to ourselves,
Yeah.
right? You know, why doesn't this person get me and why don't they see me and whatever,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, I have empathy and understanding for that aspect of it too because we've all been there,
Right.
right? But I think this phase in our life, yeah, that word to me is just for me has a totally different meaning than what I feel the actual distortion is out in the world.
And when I think about it with your differentiation of sovereign versus entangled,
Mhm.
when I feel the difference, because I always try to focus on where in my body do I feel this? I feel in this heart space energy with that sovereign kind of,
It
um,
feels good
it
as a
feels
sovereign
good
space.
in
Yeah.
this energy, in my heart, in
Mhm.
my yeah, I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
it's
And
like I will sit with you and allow you to and say rise. I will say um here's the light. Just walk, right?
yeah.
And if not, I will lovingly leave you to your experience
Hmm.
and just witness that with you.
Right.
I don't right? Like it's the whole fixer thing. I'm like, I just gosh, I do not want to fix anybody anymore. I don't want to be part of having to fix anybody because it's like we all have our own role. And unless we are ready to fix ourselves, no one outside of us is going to fix it.
No. And so that actually, at the beginning, I think I said something about sometimes I don't have enough capacity to sit with compassion, right?
Mm,
And I actually find like where I've been in the last 6 months to a year, I don't have a ton of compassion because my bandwidth and my dysregulation with all these shifts in hormones that my body's been experiencing, I have zero, zero
right?
bandwidth with life, right?
Our okay. Our next episode is going to be on the word bandwidth because that started to come up in consciousness about 3 months ago, and
Okay.
that was a word where I was like, "Nope." I'm like,
Oh.
why is everybody saying that all of a sudden?" And
Mm,
when we go through that on the next one, we'll have to
mm,
film that this weekend. When we go through that on the next
okay.
one,
Yeah.
you'll never utter it out of your mouth again.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay. So yeah.
Right?
Well, yes. So I
It's
know that my dysregulated cup is overflowing with just I can't handle one more drop in my bucket and mama's gonna blow her shit, right?
right.
Like,
No,
and
exactly.
I don't have compassion for the person whose car is like broken down and needs to get to work. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
trying not to blow up my life.
Yeah, totally. Well, and that's the whole
Yeah.
thing is you can only hold that space of sovereign compassion
Yeah.
if your cup is full too.
Right?
And people don't understand, like, well, I should say people. I don't know. I'm going to say people. People don't seem to understand that. They
Yeah.
ask of others to have that for them without asking, can you?
Yeah.
Can you hold
Yes.
compassion for me? Can you hold this space for me? Can you
Yes.
be here with me?
Yes.
I don't think in my lifetime, I don't think I've heard one person ever ask that.
No.
It's expected. It's like this expectation, this driven expectation or this obligation of you just have to, because that's like a societal expectation. And
Especially
isn't
for women.
it's like it's almost mind blowing to think about,
Yeah. Right?
right? It's
And
almost mind
here's the
blowing.
thing. Then because I'm a good girl, I then don't just hold the space. I try to fix it, right? I absorb that energy. And
Yes,
then
yes.
right? Then I'm like, oh, like it's like what
And
the hell am
then
I
you're in
doing?
your own little cycle of,
That's right.
where your cup gets empty and your cup gets empty
Yeah.
and then you hit a wall, right?
Yeah.
Where maybe you get a little bit of the sniffles or whatever the case is because
Right.
you're not doing what you need to do for you.
Exactly. And so where in your life, I know we're this much of, uh not wanting to give the entangled compassion anymore, right? This is where
Mhm. Yeah.
we're moving, we're shifting. And now that we've
Yes.
differentiated it, I think that's so brilliant for me to, that will just give me clarity moving forward in terms of more compassion for self. Because here was my next question: where do you struggle to give compassion the most?
Where do I s
Not entangled. Where do you struggle to give
like, not you mean
sovereign
like,
compassion
s
the most?
less and less nowadays, and, like, less and less nowadays, I don't struggle with it as, like
Oh,
I less and less nowadays do I
yeah,
struggle with that. Um, I think I struggle with it when there's a different expectation thrown on me for something like,
yeah,
empathy or compassion.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like, back in the I think well, I don't know, I always did entangled compassion for decades,
I
right?
still do. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I probably
yeah.
do fall back into that every now and then, but, like, I'd say the last year, just with how life's been evolving and how I've been changing and how I've been doing, like, such a shit ton of inner work that
Mm,
it's not I don't struggle with it as much anymore.
mm,
So, even if someone's expectation is come into my shit and be a part of it,
right.
um, it comes off I think it probably really comes off cold to people, but I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here with like, I'm where you're used to a fixer and you no longer have a fixer, but you have someone saying, I'm just here with you."
Yeah,
And right, I have seen from a few different people that I know, and there's an anger that comes up when the
yeah,
fixer's no longer there, and there is distortion in them that comes up when all of a sudden it's like they have to carry their heaviness on their own while I hold space for just that to happen.
yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but as a fixer, have you ever really fixed anyone? No,
No,
never
no,
have.
no.
You know
And
why?
that's
Because
the aha.
because people look outward for stuff, but then don't want to go inward
Mm,
and fix it.
right.
So that I personally, I think it's like, if I ask you to fix me and it doesn't go right, it's no longer on me. It's not something else I have to carry. I can just blame you that didn't work or that wasn't the thing. This all
Yeah.
ties in and it's so crazy.
It is crazy. And this is the fact that we're even talking about this is insane, because this week in particular I had that aha moment of, without the verbiage of knowing what this was, it felt like I was being more compassionate now. I think the person came to the realization too that they were asking a lot
Mhm.
from me
Yeah,
in this, particular scenario. But it feels like letting them kind of suffer with the natural consequences of whatever it is that they're supposed to be going through, right? Do I
for
think
sure.
people need a helping hand? Absolutely. Am I the first person to usually help people? I try to be, because I know that um sometimes I've needed help, right?
Ditto. Yep.
And I would absolutely, want to do things for people, especially when they're a little down on their luck and they just need that like shift of, but
Mhm.
this has been an ongoing thing with this particular person for a really long time. And so at
Yeah.
some point it's like there are consequences, and I gotta be honest. I think not rescuing you or being this person to rescue you this time actually may be the catalyst that actually helps you, right? And so the
Yeah.
compassionate thing might be not to sit in the space with them,
For sure.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Which
struggle
is
most.
altogether that's sovereign compassion. That's
I
you
know.
staying sovereign. I know, and that's another like it's another
Oh,
weird
yeah.
uncomfortable thing that once you surrender the uncomfortableness of it, and I've
Yeah.
watched it play through with myself a few times because I'm like, "Ooh, this feels really good to sit here." But then
Mm.
watching the other person, I'm like, "But fuck, it's gotta suck on your end."
Yeah.
Like, it's
Right?
gotta suck on your end, and then I
Yeah.
feel empathy for the suck that feels like, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I know that if I come into it, nothing's gonna change for you. It's
Yeah.
not gonna get better. You're
Yeah.
gonna stay in the loop that you're in. So maybe me sitting and just being
Yeah.
elusive, not even elusive, I'm there for them, but just in a different, completely different way of not fixing. Maybe
Yeah.
that, like you said, maybe that's the catalyst. Maybe that's the thing that you can turn inward enough to look and be like, how now I have to fix this, obviously. How do I fix this? That's my
Right.
hope, and in my hope anyways for people,
Well,
right?
that's why I'm like, at some point you just gotta like, you gotta make a decision and then at some point you just gotta hope and be like, I really hope that I made the right decision with that. Right.
Yeah.
And you might
Yeah.
not. But the
Yeah.
one place that I struggle the most with compassion and sitting in my own shit and my own pain is with self. Like, that is where I know that I need to work. I don't have a ton, and maybe that's why I don't have a ton of compassion for other people because I
Okay,
don't have a ton of compassion. So,
explain that to me in detail.
yeah, so okay, an example from this week was, big, big feelings on my part and blowing my shit because my cup, there was, a few extra things and I lost it. I was like, I'm as we all
Yeah.
do as parents, for example.
Oh,
And I was completely, probably in the right, but then you feel like, oh my God, you could have handled that so much better. You could have talked to about, you could have not have let it get so full of resentment and then had this, moment of lose your shit, right? There was a lot of things. And so instead of me talking to myself and maybe saying, you've been very overwhelmed this last couple weeks. You are not feeling well. Your children are teenagers. They could be helping out more. So you have like, how many times do you have to ask to do this exact? You having compassion for the overwhelmed, the not feeling well, all of the things that I could say to myself. And now you need to go to bed a little earlier this week and start really kind of taking some time to rejuvenate and instead of beating myself up about it, which is kind of
right.
where I always tend to go in the no compassion.
Yeah, right. And I think
Yeah,
that's a big thing for our view. I think a lot of our viewers are going to relate to that, and I
yeah,
think women specifically will relate to that a lot
yeah,
because you do want to be the best that you can be all of the time.
yeah,
That's not even possible. That's not even
mm,
possible. I mean, you haven't made it through the teenage stage yet, but once you do and you look back on all the explosions
yeah,
and the shit that
yeah,
happens,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it couldn't have been any other way. It's gonna teach them something. Like, if I
Right.
talk to my kids now and I'm like, "Remember that one time?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You understand that that just couldn't have been any other way, right? Like, it wasn't anything against you, but" and it didn't. For years, there was resentment on their part for a lot of that stuff, but then
Yeah,
they grow into good humans because we raise good humans,
yeah,
and
because they all come back.
they all come back, just like we did with our parents. We can look
Yes.
back on them and go, "They did the best that they could do, and they couldn't have
Yeah,
done it any other way."
yeah, yeah.
Like, right? So,
Right.
yeah, that could but that self-compassion, I think, will relate a lot. I've done that many times in the past too.
Yeah.
Many times. Many, many times.
Yeah,
So,
and Supermom is something that is posted all over every, television show and, social media
for
outlet. It's
sure.
this kind of like, nope,
Uh,
I can't be
well,
that.
even that, like, super mom, super wife, like, I'll give you an instant from this past weekend. We were making, more pickled asparagus because 'cause I'm on this
Mhm,
massive pickled asparagus kick, and it's
mhm,
so good. So I did the first batch on my own, and we ate through the jars, and then Chris was like, "Let's go get more." So we went and got more. So here I'm, like, chopping it the same way that I did the last time, and he's
right.
like, "No, no." He's like, "Why don't you do it this way?" And I'm like, "This is how I did it last time, and it worked fine." "Yeah, but" and so there was one too many yeah buts, and I, like, slammed down my asparagus, and I'm like, "Then you do it." I'm like, "You're in the way of a kitchen witch. Get out."
Yeah,
Right? And he was like, "Whoa."
yeah,
So then he walked away, and I took a few deep breaths, and I'm like, "Why did I do that? That was so stupid." He wasn't even coming at me from a bad place. He was suggesting something different. So then, that's where I think I've gotten better is having more compassion for that for myself because I'm like, I'm really hungry, so I don't even think that was my personality coming out, right?
yeah, yeah,
So You get there over time. I think we grow into that more compassionate state for ourselves over time.
Yeah.
It's just the recognition that we're not perfect, right?
Yeah. It's true. We're not. And
We're
this
not.
midlife stage is
Oh my
is
god.
shining the light on it,
It
but
is. Uh,
also giving us 0 fucks.
exactly.
Like, I'm like,
Seriously.
you know what? I know what I used to be able to do. I know where I was, and I know that I will just keep trying to show up in a better, and I hate the word better because it implies judgment, but a way that is more aligned to my soul, right? I
Right.
just will keep
Yes.
trying to show up in a way that feels more aligned to me.
Yeah. And that's more
Wow.
conscious because you're getting more conscious about it now.
Yeah.
Quicker probably than you would have years ago. You probably
Yes.
would have not been conscious of that whole like the blow up and how that felt and everything, but you're more conscious of that now,
Yeah.
right?
And I love that this life or this chapter of my life is allowing
Mhm.
me to be in that space of this is me.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I, like,
Yeah.
literally never got it from I never understood my mom when she said it way back when she was
Yeah.
in her 50s, and
Yeah.
now I understand it, and I now I have compassion for her because I'm like, "I get it. You just literally stop giving a shit. You have no fucks left in your fuck bucket most of the time."
Right.
Right?
So if you could give any advice to our listeners, or I mean, I know where I'm going, even with my own children with this. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
so now that we have defined what compassion is, broken down what it is, what it looks like in, a sovereign and an entangled way,
Mhm.
what advice would you give somebody moving forward? Obviously, move forward in an, sovereign compassion, but like what's the first step? How do you start taking that first step to getting there?
Like, going from entangled compassion to sovereign
Right.
passion and
Yeah.
compassion?
Yeah.
I think one of the first steps is, how does this feel in your body
Yeah.
when you're with someone and you're providing compassion? Or not even when you're with someone, you're with a say you're with a I don't know, there's so many groups out there and, like, clubs and stuff like that that have to, that have to do with helping humanity in different ways. But,
Right.
like, how does that resonate in your body? Because for me, that's the first thing. That's what led to, like, down the rabbit hole of what does this actually mean? Because I didn't feel good. It was, like, so sticky to me and it was so gross and it weighed me down. So I think that's the first step is finding out whether you're in entangled compassion or sovereign or compassion is
Right.
just how does that feel in your body?
Yeah.
'Cause you said that was the first thing you said, and I didn't even prompt you on that. You're like, "Ooh, let me sit with that word. How does that feel in my body?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"See, that's where that lies." If we're not conscious of where things sit with our body, then we're throwing a bunch of spells out there. So everything we say is a spell of some sort, right? So even like you say, even we believe said it too in the last few weeks. I'm sick. It's like the worst thing to say. No, something's moving through me is what we should be saying so that we
True,
spell
true. Yeah.
that differently so it doesn't stick to us in a way that you're now owning that thing, right?
Yeah.
So
I love that.
if we're hurting in our bodies, well, it's something obviously is moving through our bodies that needs to be moved in a certain way instead of owning it. That's how like strong all of these words are, right? And it can be of a detriment to us or it can be empowering. We just have to figure out which one we want to be.
Exactly. And for me, I think I'm going to continue to try to sit with people rather than fix, because that
Yeah.
especially as healers, I think this is something that we, women or men, whether
Mhm.
you are, an empath, a healer, whatever, this kind of higher vibrational energy where you feel more deeply, I think compassion is something for me that is expected. And so this kind of cold detachment that I've
Yeah.
started to take on is actually, I don't think that it feels like I'm discerning between
Mhm.
the two that like you just described. And I think that I'm going to continue to move away from the fix part of it and just to be the container, the light. I love that. What did you say about the
Yeah.
light? Say it again.
Here's the light, walk.
Oh, here's the light. Walk.
Walk,
Woo!
right?
Woo!
It's and
I
that
like
that
it.
that it is that's empowering in and of itself,
Yeah,
right?
I
The
love it.
path is lit. You just gotta walk it. You just have to walk. And
I love
I didn't until you just said everything that you just said,
Yeah.
it just hit me that, Chris has always practiced sovereign compassion, and I think most of our marriage, I probably misunderstood it because he literally, without saying it, was like, "Here's the light, walk." He would always see the other side of it and
Yeah.
not entangle himself in the whatever was being undone with it. He just he was the light the whole entire time. Wow, that's super cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a big
Ooh.
revelation. Yeah,
Oh
that's a
my
big
god.
revelation. So, how cool is that? That's kinda
How
neat,
cool is that?
right?
I love that. And so that's another goal is to surround yourself with people who are the light.
Yes. Yes. There's the
Wow.
sovereign light,
I
right?
love
The
it.
sovereign light. So, yeah,
Oh,
so cool segment, right?
you're so cool. So, okay, my friends, if you're still here and listening, we're so happy that you
Yes.
joined us today. And as always, stay curious, stay intuitive. And if you're feeling like a misfit, then you're probably in the right space.
You are probably in the right space. Thank you for tuning in with Midlife with Mystics and Misfits. I'm Cece,
And I'm Jen.
and we can't wait to see you guys again. Comment, subscribe, share this out. Let's build a community together.
Love you. Bye,
Love
babe.
you too, babe. Bye.